Hello folks, welcome to Business Ethics 7th edition by Richard DeGeorge. I am Professor Lee Moore and I'll be taking you through this presentation. This is the Check Your Understanding video and there will be a quiz at the end of this. Let's go ahead and start off with Chapter 1. In looking at business ethics, it's important that we understand business. Business is a very important part of contemporary society and it involves all of us in one form or another. Now, business is not something that's separate from society or imposed upon it. It's actually an integral part of society. When we look at morality, it consists of rules of human behavior and it specifies that certain actions are wrong or immoral and that others are right or moral. Because business activity is human activity, it can be evaluated from the moral point of view, just as any other human activity can also be evaluated. What is business ethics? The term business ethics is used in several different senses, and as we'll see it throughout the course, we're going to be looking at ethics in business ethics as a movement, and business ethics as a part of the general field of ethics. So what is the aim of business ethics? Is it the defense of the status quo, what is currently going on? Or is it for radical change? Well, the aim of business ethics is neither defense of the status quo, nor is it radical change. Rather, it should serve to remedy those aspects of structures that need to change, and it should protect those structures that are moral. When we look at the myth of amoral business, it's important to understand what amoral means. Whereas moral means that you know the difference from right and wrong and you choose to do the right thing. And immoral means knowing the difference between right and wrong and choosing to do the wrong thing. Amoral means that you may be aware of what's right and wrong, but in a particular situation you may not be fully aware that what you're doing is wrong, or you may be unconcerned whether what you're doing is right or wrong. When we look at the myth of amoral business, we know that it expresses the ambivalence of many towards business and a popular widespread view of American business. Now, the myth has several different variations. Business is amoral insofar as ethical considerations are inappropriate to business because, well, business is business. Ethical language is simply not the language of business. Many businesses act unethically, not because of a desire to do evil, but simply because they want to make a profit, and therefore they disregard some of the consequences of their actions. We can see the breakdown of the myth of amoral business by the reporting of scandals and the type of public reaction to these reports of scandals. We can see it by the formation of popular groups such as the environmentalists, consumerists, watchdog groups. We also see it by the concern of businesses in ethics as expressed in different conferences, magazine and newspaper articles, and the growing amount of corporate codes of ethical conduct and of ethics programs. As we take a look at the relation of business and morality, we're going to dig into the business of business, the moral background of business, the changing mandate for business. Let's go ahead and take a look at these now. As we look at the business of business, it's very important for us to consider what is considered to be business from one society to another society. Societies and cultures all vary, and so their definition of business is going to change appropriately. Defining business per se and its proper concern is a social question that really has to be answered in the social context of that society. The limits and demands imposed on businesses by society are frequently moral. With the moral background of business, we have to understand that morality consists of rules of human behavior, and it specifies that certain reactions are wrong or immoral, and that others are right or moral. Because most businesses value their reputations, we really don't live in a dog-eat-dog world or business world. It's because the ordinary person does not need to be told that lying and stealing are wrong, and that they form part of the background of business. The limits set by society on businesses are often moral, but they are also frequently written into law. In a republic, almost everything is written into law, and America is a republic. The retreat to law as the sole norm by which to guide business is in part a reflection of the fact that most managers don't really know how to handle many moral issues as they arise in business. There is a changing mandate for business. The social mandate to business is not only given in law. In fact, today the mandate to business is much more complex. Corporations are asked to consider the impact of their decisions and their actions on the environment, the public, and the common good. And this is different in these times than it's ever been before. Businesses must also consider what structures promote moral responsibility and which ones facilitate the weighing of moral and other values. Business ethics and ethics. When we look at the term business ethics, it's used in three different senses. Ethics in business, business ethics as far as being a movement, and then business ethics as part of the general field of ethics. And there are many different fields that involve ethics. It's important to know that ethics studies morality and not the other way around. Now, morality is a term used to cover those practices and activities that are considered importantly right or wrong, the rules that govern those activities, and the values that are embedded, fostered, or pursued by those activities and practices. Ethics is a systematic attempt to make sense of our individual and social moral experience in such a way as to determine the rules that ought to govern human conduct, the values worth pursuing, and the character traits deserving development in life. General ethics cover descriptive ethics, normative ethics, and meta-ethics. When we look at descriptive ethics, these are closely related to fields such as anthropology, sociology, and psychology. Descriptive ethics involve looking about what moral values people actually abide by, people's beliefs about morality, the research into the attitudes of individuals or groups of people, and most importantly, it asks the question, what do people think is right? Looking at special ethics, casuistry is the art of solving difficult moral problems, cases, or dilemmas through careful application of moral principles. When we look at general ethics, applying general ethics to specialized fields leads us to yields in business ethics, medical ethics, engineering ethics, professional ethics, etc. The definition of business and business ethics, when we look at business, it includes any and all economic transactions between individuals and profit-making organizations, and between profit-making organizations and any other such organizations. Business ethics as a field is defined by the interaction of ethics and business. Business ethics involves 5 activities. The first activity is the application of general ethics principles to particular cases or practices in business. The second activity is meta-ethical, whether moral terms that are generally used to describe individuals and the actions they perform can also be applied to organizations, corporations, businesses, and any other collective entities. The third is the analysis of the presuppositions of business, both moral presuppositions and presuppositions from a moral point of view. The fourth are those in business ethics are sometimes led by embedded problems that go beyond the field of ethics into other areas, such as philosophy, and also into other domains of knowledge, such as economics and organization theory. The final activity in which business ethics is typically involved is describing morally praiseworthy and exemplary actions of either individuals in business or particular firms. This completes your introduction to our first chapter and into the course itself. At this time, I'd like for you to go into the Check Your Understanding quiz, which is located directly under this presentation in your course. Complete the 5-question true and false quiz. After that, select Finish Attempt at the bottom of the screen to submit the quiz for grading. Now, you can open up the course in 2 separate browsing windows in your browser to review the video in one while taking the quiz in the other. This will allow you to go back and look at different slides and to listen to the audios. Good luck. If at any time you have any questions or you have any issues, always feel free to contact me either through the course email or you can call me at 277 0469.